Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LegalZoom. August is National Make-A-Will Month, so now it's your turn to take care of your family and assets with an estate plan. For special savings, visit LegalZoom.com and enter AAA at checkout. And by WordPress. Reach more customers when you build your business website on WordPress.com. Plans start at just $4 a month. Get 15% off any new plan at WordPress.com/allaboutandroid. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 380, recorded on Tuesday, July 31st, 2018. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion.
Hello, everybody. Hello, team. We are
Hello.
sugared up on Oreos, and we are welcoming back to the show, Matteo Doni.
What's up, Matteo?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me back on the show.
We're hyping you up because we know it's 1 a.m. You've had your cup of your standard 1 a.m. cup of coffee, as you do every single night at 1 a.m.
Well, he watches us.
It's Coffee Huel, which is
Huel.
the British equivalent of Soylent.
Oh, okay. Then I
have to say,
misunderstood.
Huel is much better marketing than Soylent. I would
And
much rather drink.
neither are good words.
I mean, yeah, but like,
Huel.
I'm sorry.
lesser
I'm
of two
sorry.
evils.
Huel. I'd like a nice tall cup
human
of
It
fuel.
kind of almost sounds like gruel.
It kind of does.
Sorry, Mateo.
It pretty much is. It's almost like porridge, or you call it oatmeal.
Oh, but so you drink it? It's like drinking oatmeal?
Wait, isn't porridge like cream
Yeah.
of wheat?
It's all this kind of
Pretty
the same
much.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
much the same. In Asia, they have rice porridge.
And you just drink the porridge with a
Yes.
hint of coffee flavor.
Yeah, and some sugar. It's delicious, right, Mateo?
No
just can't-
sugar, but yes.
Oh, good for you.
I just can't
That's the
imagine
fuel
drinking it.
fuel that keeps podcasting going.
All right.
Oh,
Whatever
well.
it takes.
Protein and caffeine. I mean, really, what else do you need?
Hey, you just launched a podcast.
We did. Lukash and I launched the Tech Travel Geeks podcast this week, and this morning we got approved for Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts, so we're quite happy
Congrats.
about that.
Right.
Awesome.
So thank you. And it's not going to be so much on tech news, but we're going to have guests on the show, and I'm leaving this as an open invitation to you or anyone on the Twit network community to come on as a guest and speak about their travel habits and what gadgets and accessories make their travel experience better. We're actually starting with our first guest next Sunday. We're having a familiar voice and face. Miriam Joire is coming on as a guest to talk about her travel experience, gadgets, and her very big new gadgets, her Tesla Model 3.
Travel gadget.
Yeah, right. That's probably definition, like the definitive travel gadget, as it was.
And my friend Lukash has pre-ordered his Model 3, so he's very eager to hear about that.
Right on.
And what you can do with your smartphone, specifically his Android smartphone, to control his car.
Nice. Yeah. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of all the Model 3ers out there. Although it sounds like some of them are kind of falling through, right? Like they've started kind of postponing or canceling some of the orders. I don't know. I can't keep up with the strange state of Tesla right now. I feel like suddenly the last month or two, things have gotten really weird with Tesla.
Well, Lukash's one's due to be delivered at some point in 2019. We're way behind in Europe.
Yeah. Well, cross your fingers. Anyways, if people want to check out that podcast, awesome. Just go to techtravelgeeks.com and you'll find, up at the top, you'll find a drop down for podcast. And you can get right there and check it out. Congrats on the launch.
Great, thank you very much.
And I appreciate
look forward
that
to having you on as guests.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite. That's awesome. I appreciate that you continually stick to using a banana for scale in all the photos also. That is not lost on me.
It is a universal constant.
Yeah. Although some bananas are bigger than others, it's not perfect. But yeah, it'll do. It'll do. This week, we discuss a whole lot on this show. Actually, this is a big news week, and we got some great hardware to talk about as well. The Lenovo Smart Display, the Doogee, I can never remember, S50 review. Mateo's been playing around with that and just posted a review on his site. Nokia One, the Pixel and Note 9 rumors are, and I don't know if the Samsung rumor is Note 9 specifically, but it's probably either the Note 9 or the S10. The S10 is the next one, right? Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they change it up entirely. Fortnite for Android seems to be right around the corner. There's new restrictions for the Play Store, your feedback, a whole bunch more news stories as well. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, you can always go to twit.tv/AAA, and you can subscribe to this show. You should do that if you haven't already. Maybe you found us on YouTube or wherever you happen to be. But subscribe, and you won't have to think about it anymore. We'll be there whether you like it or not.
Your platform of choice has subscription options. Use them.
Use them wisely. And, Victor, we don't really have news this week. It's all hardware. Are you sad? I'm sorry. I'm a little sad.
No, because I got a bumper for that.
Oh, okay. All right. It's time for some hardware.
Well, hang on. This is inaccurate.
Well, technically, I guess
we'll get there to Mateo's Hardware Shack, but we're starting with Flo's
Hardware
Rama, right?
Hardware room.
Mateo's Hardware Shack is in our backyard, so we are hosting it on our sprawling land here in beautiful Petaluma.
Yeah, this is Flo's hardware acreage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, baby, that acreage
on
in
which
Sonoma County.
We've built Mateo's Hardware Shack.
Perfect.
All right, good.
Oh man,
Thank you.
I am rich with land.
So we're not giving Mateo ownership.
This is
no. We
this is
Airbnb
purely
it out when Mateo's not here because we have to make money on it because this is California. You gotta make money on everything.
Possibly a lease option, Mateo, sure. if you're open to that. But we can talk about that off the air.
So what is super clean and super fresh is right over there, the Lenovo Smart Display.
Oh yeah, here. Why don't I move it over here?
You model it, Jason. You're so good at modeling.
Wait, this is a major device thing here because this is like we've only heard of. I mean, I can't believe you have one there in the studio. I'm blown away.
I've actually had one for over a week and a half, and it's been great. And I really missed it because I had to leave this here yesterday.
Look at that blinking at me.
Oh, that's.
It's really.
Why is that blinking at you? Is it blinking in real life?
Very
or is the
faintly.
camera
I can see it in real life faintly. It's blinking a lot more on the screen.
Oh, you know
right
why?
Here.
Because there's an ambient sensor. So there's actually like one of those self-adjusting screen brightness abilities, which I did not like using during filming Know-How because it kept going in and out.
Ramping up and down.
Yeah, so it must be pulling that in for whatever reason. But yeah, so this is a Lenovo Smart Display, and it is the first Google Assistant with display device. There's plenty more coming out this summer. This is just kind of the first wave. The one that we have here is the 10-inch variant, which has a bamboo back, and there's also an 8-inch variant that has a soft touch gray material.
Yeah, this bamboo back really makes me want to etch something into it.
This is
do you mind if I do that into your device?
Absolutely do not, please.
Burke, give me a knife. Gonna etch some
Please
initials.
do not do that.
Okay.
So also interesting to note, you can stand this up vertically. It doesn't have to be horizontal. So if you wanted it this way, you could have it this way.
And what is vertical good for?
I'm not sure yet. I'm still figuring that out. But it's possible. Please don't do that. Burke, what is happening?
Oh, wow.
Burke has come through.
Well, you asked Burke for a knife. Of course he's going to come. What are you doing?
No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
You took that joke really far, Jason.
I know. You know what? Really I was ready to let it go, but then Burke walked in with a knife, so maybe I'm a little scared.
I'm happy I'm not in the studio with my hardware this week.
Don't worry. I'm not going to sacrifice any hardware. Sorry, I didn't mean to shut you down, Flo.
So anyway, this is the 10-inch version, so it has the full HD screen. The 8-inch version has a regular HD screen, if you're okay with that sort of thing. Both of them have 10-watt speakers, so they're pretty loud. But, I mean, Megan and I compared this thing to a HomePod, and I'm assuming, what it would sound like. I haven't really tested it against the Google Home Max, but not as bassy. Yeah. But it's good for like background. So if you've got friends over, you can put on like your favorite playlist in the background. And what's cool is you have that visual feedback. So if your friend's like, sipping on a cocktail you made her out of, some LaCroix and gin, and she could be like, oh man, this is a throwback hit, and look over and see who the artist is.
Or this person.
Yes, this is a freelancer I used to work with whose picture I have. Oh no, there's me in the corner.
Yeah, no, it's like a little.
Yeah, I made a little photo album to like go through as a demo on Google Plus. So that's what's going on right now.
So
this is an ambient screen, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you.
All right, so okay.
So what does it do?
So here's what it does. It does exactly the same as it does on the Chromecast. It's just your ambient screen. When it's on, it shows pictures if you want it. You can use the experimental features. It's all the same stuff that you can do with your Chromecasts.
Okay.
So, and speaking of which, this is also a castable display.
So you can watch TV on it.
So you can watch TV on it. I watch my Google Play movies. You can watch YouTube TV. You can watch YouTube. It's actually my kitchen TV right now because it's just great as an entertainment.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Friday and Saturday.
Go away.
Actually, so when you want it to go away, you can
Oh, okay.
You can just swipe it away like that, like you would on a regular interface, which is pretty neat. And then when you go from the bottom, you can swipe it up. It's got a physical camera switch right over here. So if somebody wants to call in and duo you, from across the country, like your mom is trying to call you and you're like, no, Mom, I don't want to talk to you right now. You can just, flip it closed. It's also got a physical mute button. So that way it's not listening to you when you don't want it to.
Oh, that's on top.
So you can video call with people on it?
You can video call with people on it. I haven't actually tried.
On what app? Is it just Duo or is it just Duo? Okay.
Yeah. I haven't tried with Hangouts. I haven't tried with any other apps just yet. But I know that Duo is for certain the one that you're going to use here.
Nice.
Also, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, from a hardware perspective, it feels really nice. Like, it feels solid. I like, it's a strange, unique design, right? Like how it's flat, then it kind of comes out. But that allows it to do the stand-up, vertical and horizontal thing. It also gives the speakers some actual depth, right? Because otherwise, if it was a flat tablet, you wouldn't get any sort of bass response out of these things. So I'm sure it sounds better than what you would expect out of like a flat tablet.
I was watching Real Housewives on this thing, no problem, while doing the dishes, and I could hear all of their chit-chattering, whatever they were doing. But it's also important to note that this design also makes it a lot more friendly to a very decorative household. So if you've got like plants everywhere and books and things like that, the idea about this is supposed to integrate into everything you already have placed into your house and become this sort of background piece to everything versus the Echo Show, which kind of sometimes feels like it's just supposed to be to the side unless you have like a video reason for it.
Right.
What's really awesome about the Smart Display, though, is just the way that the Google Assistant interacts with you. It's a lot more visual, obviously, so you've got a lot more commands that you can touch and sort of have like a tangible element to it. Do you want to try out some?
Yeah, go for it. I'm assuming it's synced to your voice.
It is synced. Yeah, it is. This is all synced on my account into all my home stuff at home. So everybody who's listening live, please mute your G homes because I am going to trigger them in a few seconds.
All right, go for it. What do we want to check out first?
All right, so okay, Google, turn on the hue bloom.
Sure, turning the hue.
Look, it recognized me. Did you see? So what you can see here is if you tap on color, you can, this is a little like table lamp that I have. So you can choose like the different colors and see like, what your mood is.
Smitten.
Oh, that's nice.
Light blue.
You can adjust the brightness and it's an ambiance light. So it's kind of nice to be able to do this without having to pick up your phone or even having to like do that whole voice walkthrough.
I can
It's
just
okay.
turn
No
it
one's
off
home.
and off. Oh,
No one's
no
home
one's
except
home.
the cat, and she has no idea. Okay, so another thing it can do, since it can do casting, let's play one of Mateo's favorite songs. Hey Google, play Jennifer Page "Crush."
Okay, Crush by Jennifer Page. Here it is on Spotify.
So it's linked to my Spotify account.
Okay.
So it's gonna, and if you want, you can, hear kind of like the bassiness.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's not super deep bass, but it's got.
Well, it's a late '90s bass, pop bass.
I mean, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good for.
And, okay, you want it to go away?
speaker.
Swipe it like I showed you earlier.
From,
Swipe it away.
From the side.
Yeah. Okay, now pause it.
Boop. Nice.
There you go. And now you have a nice little visual element. And
Sorry to turn off your favorite song, Mateo.
That's fine. I can play it to my heart's content later. On my normal
I bet you it's
Google
playing
Home.
right now in your head. It also does routine very interestingly. So let's let's see how it does this one. Hey, maybe I don't want to do the good morning one actually, because maybe I don't want everybody to see it. So actually, let's do this instead. I can show you how it works with the Nest.
Sure.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
So if you have Nest cameras in your house, you can cast them easily. So you could just say something like, hey, Google, show me my front door camera.
You got it. Streaming the front door on Office Display.
On Office Display. So now
Yes.
it's
So this
connecting
is
to the
called,
Nest camera.
yeah, this is my doorbell camera. And
Hey,
so
there you
it's
go.
it's right there. And now if you want to swipe it away, you can do it exactly
Like that.
like how I showed you. Let's see if
That
this.
turns it off. Got it.
I want to show you guys a routine, but let me fix something really quick before I do. Okay, there we go. All right. Hey Google, good morning.
Hello.
So this is what it's like in the morning.
The time is 5:36 p.m.
It's totally morning time.
It's 84 and sunny.
It's taking all the
Here's your
information.
weather
Clear
forecast.
with a forecasted high of 85 and a low of 57.
It's a different assistant voice, right?
Yeah, I changed it. It's
Oh, okay.
Cyan. It's assistant Cyan because they're all color names
Yeah.
because they are genderless.
It said something, and then the volume went all the way
Yes.
down.
So actually,
because
I
it's
forgot
the
to tell
morning
you,
time.
I turned the volume down to 20
Yeah.
on all of my smart speakers
That
because
makes sense.
I don't want them to blast.
Absolutely.
I
When you're
like
waking
it
up
quiet
first
in the
thing
morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a really smart idea.
So it's just and swipe over to the other this way.
Okay.
So now you get to like go and see the different feeds, like all the connections that I have in there. So like you have your YouTube and your Spotify, and then there's some suggestions for what you can do. And then if you tap on the Explore More, Google is going to take you to a beautiful
nice
little
interface.
interface that you can kind of tap around and see what it does. The really great part about this, by the way, if you just want something for the kitchen, is the recipes they just list everything out for you and they let you go step by step on the screen. So do you want to do one really quick? Just kind of show?
one real quick, and then
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll move on.
Okay.
Hey Google, how do you make cinnamon rolls? So tap on a recipe that you like. whatever
Homemade
you
cinnamon
want.
rolls
There you
by
go.
Tasty. Come on, let's go.
Okay, and then tap start cooking.
All right, gives you all the
So it gives you all the
stuff, start
ingredients.
cooking.
Okay, that's the
There are 15 ingredients. You
So-
can ask for the next
And you can say next ingredient.
You can either say it or you can tap skips to instructions.
Okay.
There's 29 steps. I'll read them one by one. When you're ready to hear more, say next step.
Yeah, when you're ready, it lets you talk to it.
2 disposable foil pie cake pans.
This is
That's
nice
it.
though, because I've thought about like streaming a recipe over like a Google Home, and while that sounds like a really great idea, like it's
only
just
good if you
keeps
like
going.
need to know the ratios of something, like
Yeah,
things,
this
but
at
not if
least,
you need
like-
to follow a journey.
yeah, totally. When you're doing a recipe, it's nice to be able to also see it and kind of skip step by step
Yeah.
and everything. So that's really cool.
And you guys can see more of it on this week's Know How, which debuts on Thursday. So Megan and I did a couple more like formulas and things if you want to check out and see what else you can do, and how it stacks up to the Amazon Echo Show, because I know that for a lot of people that is something that is important.
And then this is kind of the ambient mode.
Yeah, it's just a clock. I set it to a plain old clock. And I love it because now I have this bright clock in the room. I get to just stare. I always know what time it is.
And you never fall asleep because it's shining in your eyes.
Well, no, it's a downstairs device.
Oh, okay.
I don't think this is a bedroom device at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. It could be a site.
It could be a bedroom device. I mean, I think your kitchen TV solution, I think, is like a home run for it. But I could see that as just like a really nice alarm clock.
No, you're right.
Especially with the fact that it has the hardware camera cover. You know, some people would feel weird bringing a camera-enabled device into the bedroom, which Amazon has their Amazon Look, I think, which is exactly that. Yet it doesn't have a hardware camera switch. It's like, okay, well, why would I do that?
It's $199 for the 8-inch and $249 for the 10-inch.
Nice.
So wherever you can buy Lenovo products.
That's not bad. Cool. So my question is that, like, I think this is great, but like, it's interesting to see Google letting Lenovo take the risk versus putting one of these out themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Well, and you'll notice that there's a few more manufacturers coming out with like different versions of this. So I wonder if Google's just like, here, take it. Because the visual aid is on our phones anyway and on the Chromecast. So they don't need to make
it's basically
the hardware.
it's just Chromecast plus Assistant. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's really all it is. Which is why it's so much better than the Amazon one, because I know this ecosystem. I'm locked into it. I know how to use it. It's like we just, we started our relationship off super smooth.
Cool. And then you had to live without it.
Yeah, I really missed it today.
It's been here for the last couple of days, and it's just been whining the whole time.
I had nothing to look at while doing the dishes.
Yeah, it's missed you too. Yeah. It's actually been really annoying how much it's been whining about like missing you and stuff. All right, Lenovo Smart Display. I look forward to getting one. I'm gonna hopefully get one this weekend and play around with it. So thank you. It's awesome. Now we can get to we can whittle down from the acreage, from Flo's acreage to Mateo's hardware shack. Corner. And Mateo, you've got a couple of things. I think the main review, or the main thing that I'm interested in, is your Doogee S50, which you just posted a review on at techtravelgeeks.com. Tell us about it.
Yes, so the Doogee S50 is a rugged smartphone. It has IP68 rating, but it's also built to last. It's also shockproof. So it's a new device from Doogee, which has an 18:9 aspect ratio. It's a 5.7-inch diagonal screen. And it's just HD plus in resolution. That's 1440 by 720. It's powered by a MediaTek chipset, and it has a generous 6 gigabytes of RAM and 120 gigabytes of storage. Plus, it's expandable with micro SD to an extra 128 gigabytes of storage. And as you can see from the pictures, if you're listening, it's essentially a brick with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery and a pretty space-age industrial design. It's made to last.
Yeah, I mean, this thing has like a chunky quality to it. You know what I mean? Like all the stylings are like
Moto
edgy.
Droid.
Edge. Yes.
What are the
old
droids?
Old school.
It totally reminds you of the old. What
was that?
Which phone was that?
I forgot what it was called.
That was
the Max. The Droid Max with 2 X's.
It was before that though. It had a certain name before.
It was a Verizon exclusive.
Yes. Oh man.
Yes, it's the ones
was it a Razor?
Yes.
Was
it the Razor?
I think it was one of the first generation droids where they had the scary adverts in the US, where they were being dropped out of planes and obliterating small cities.
That's what everybody needs.
It was one of the ones they didn't make arrive in Europe because it was a Verizon exclusive.
Yes.
And this Doogee reminds me of that design, but it also feels a bit heavier.
My gosh.
It feels as if the craters would be a bit deeper. And in the video, we show the drop test. I believe it's at the top of the article there, Victor. We did actually do some drop tests at Stansted Airport whilst we were waiting for a delayed flight. So this Doogee has really won my heart over because it is chunky, it is heavy, it's thick. It doesn't try and pretend that it's a slim device, but it just works. It's got loads of RAM. The processor, the chipset, is capable enough to play Goat Simulator for long periods of time without overheating. It's just a good device to use, and it's turned into my main Pokemon Go phone just because of that battery endurance and performance. I have 3 UK SIM card in it, and it's also very good for streaming audiobooks, podcasts. I would say the only downside is there's no NFC, so it can't be used for mobile payments or public transport in certain cities. And as you just saw there in the video, it's not slippery, unlike other devices that we've seen on the market.
Is this you? As it slips out of your hand.
So whereas the Honor 10 is a very shiny device, which is very, very slippery, this one, it almost sticks to your hand because of that rubberized textured finish at the end. And so we had great fun testing this at the airport. And because the floor at Stansted Airport is filthy, we decided to wash it under the tap straight away.
I love this real life scenarios.
Yes.
And then just for good measure, we blow dried it. Nice. But the good news is it worked perfectly well. I used it on the flight and have been using it since then. There's been no issues. So the durability is not in question. The other thing is it does have a Courage port, or a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, which is very good news. Sorry, Ron, we're not living in the Bluetooth utopia yet.
Hey, man, catch up.
Well, Doogee disagree. And it does have the 3.5 millimeter audio jack, but because the casing is so deep and it's so recessed, the 3.5 millimeter audio jack is so recessed, only really slimline 3.5 millimeter audio jack accessories will actually fit in. So not all my earphones or headphones would fit into this device.
Oh, interesting.
And the same with the micro USB charger at the bottom. Because it's so recessed, not all micro USB connectors will be able to plug in. So look for slimline ones if you have them, or you might need to order some more if you do buy this device. But as you saw in the video, we've put this through its paces, we've dropped it, we've used it heavily, and I was pleasantly surprised. The operating system that's running on it is Doogee OS 2, which is based on Android 7.1.1. So it's not the latest version of Android, but it's perfectly functional, and it's very, very close to AOSP. There are very few customizations on top. So no big surprises. You don't have some of the latest Oreo features, but it does have face unlock. So if you're using this device with gloves, you don't really need to take your gloves off to use it, which is maybe part of the target audience. Mm-hmm. So people working on building sites or doing extreme sports where they do need gloves on.
Yeah, kind of in some ways on its feature set, like what it offers in features, and also kind of the design style reminds me of some of the cat phones that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Those kind of like highly ruggedized, meant more for out in the field sort of devices.
It does.
It's like
and
that. It's like that. It's like that Casio phone I wanted you to get, Jason, back in the day.
Which Casio?
Remember that? No. Remember there was one of those rugged Casio, like when you were doing what phone is Jason gonna get? Verizon had one of those like ultra rugged. I think it was Casio. I forget who the manufacturer was, and I was trying to get you to pressure you to get that one.
Professional business phone.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to look for that. So yeah. So yeah.
Well done to Doogee for going a bit out there with this rugged smartphone.
Sure.
And also it's good news that there are still some Android OEMs and ODMs that are doing something slightly different. Not just shiny slabs of glass that are very fragile and trying to be as thin as possible.
Right on. So, and what is the price kind of range on the Doogee S50?
So on AliExpress, you can order one for less than £200 sterling or $240 at the moment.
Okay.
If you go to Amazon UK, you can order one for around about £240, £250 sterling. Obviously, this is a reseller who's making a margin on it. But then you don't need to wait a week or two for delivery. It's available on Amazon Prime. Whereas I'm not sure about if it will work in the US on all 4G bands.
Right.
It does have band 20, which is what we use in Europe, which is a good thing. But beware, if you are considering buying one for the US, check that your network carrier supports the 4G bands that the Doogee S50 has. So I really enjoyed this. The big battery, that 5,180 milliamp hour battery, really does last a long time. The downside to it is that it is slow at charging. So it does need a good 6 to 8 hours to charge fully. But in everyday use, it's a great device, though the heaviness and the size of it maybe put some people off.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It definitely looks like it has a certain, it will appeal to certain people just from the design stylings, the size of it and everything. But hey, that's the beauty of Android. A little bit of everything, including we can spend just a real brief check-in on this. The Nokia One, which we talked about months ago. This is an Android Go device, and I know I want to spend some time with an Android Go device, so I might be picking up a Nokia One or one of the other ones. I want to see if I can live with an Android Go device for a couple of weeks, see what it's like. But what do you think of the Nokia One as far as what it offers and being so stripped down?
I think that it's a great device for the price. You're going to struggle to get a lot more at exactly that price point. Admittedly, with an extra $20, $30, you can get a more featured device with much more RAM and higher resolution screen. But for that, in this case, £60 or $75, you're getting a lot of smartphone. And as I said in my Tech Travel Geeks review, 2011 would have loved this phone. Quad-core, 1 gigahertz processor, a 5-megapixel camera on the back, a 2-megapixel camera on the front, exchangeable 2,000 milliamp hour battery. There is a dual SIM version as well for those who are looking for that. It has swappable back covers and takes up to 128 gigabytes micro SD. I think the real differentiator that this is one of the first Android Go devices is that this is Android Go with pretty much Google experience on top. Android Go is Google's cut down or optimized version of Android Oreo for devices that have 1 gigabyte of RAM or less. From what I hear, it should work well on even 512 megabytes of RAM. So we might even see even less expensive devices running Android Go in the future. But this is Nokia's version, which is very close to Google's experience. And it comes with all the default apps as the Go version. So there's the Go version of Gmail, the Go version of Google Maps, the Go version of other apps, basic apps as well. And to live the experience fully, I installed light versions of apps such as Skype, Facebook Messenger, and Facebook, because light versions are available. This is an enormous market, in particular in Asia and Africa, for people who have limited resources, both in buying the hardware, but also maintaining it in terms of data. So the Go operating system and apps are made to use as little data as possible to do storage whilst on Wi-Fi. Now, in most apps, I haven't noticed a big difference. In terms of functionality, it's just the same as the main Gmail and other apps. Whereas the only one that was disappointing in use was Google Maps. Essentially, it felt and looked like it was running in a web view. So you're using Google Maps on web through a wrapped app. So yeah, that's it. And the interesting thing is the Google app itself is essentially a launcher. If you scroll down just a little bit further, Victor, there's a picture I put in. There we are. This is what the Google app looks like just opening it up on Android Go. So you have links to the most commonly used apps or services. And in most cases, in the app section, it will link you to the mobile web version. So they're not going to push you to install apps on the device. They're going to try and guide you to use the web more. And if web apps are made appropriately, they run great on this device. The processing power is there to handle web apps quite comfortably. So it's a different experience from traditional Android, even the Google experience. It's very familiar, but different enough to make a difference. And this is just the first of many manufacturers that will be doing Android Go devices. Yes, this is an example of my lunch today. Nice shawarma.
Looks delicious.
Shawarma.
Quality of photo, not so great. But
yes, sadly, it looks as if an impressionist artist has painted that. So that's Scottish shawarma.
Dang.
Did you take an antacid? Did
Yeah.
we just both make an antacid joke? No.
No, I took I'll eat that joke.
So, and the focus is horrendous because it's a fixed focus camera.
Yeah.
So it's not very good. But at that price range, there's nothing to complain about.
You're not getting that for the camera. You're just happy that it has one to begin with. So you can take a picture of Bigfoot. You know, that one time that you see Bigfoot. Well, interesting. So, and also Ron realized that the Casio phone that you were talking about.
The rugged phone I wanted you to buy back in 2011 was the Casio Gzone.
Or Gzone or Gzone.
Gzone Commando. Victor, if you look in the chat, there's a Amazon link there. I could you could show. We could show everyone off. So this is
that looks like a Verizon phone.
This is as rugged as it gets. It's got listen to these specs. This is 2011. It's got a 3.6-inch LCD display, 5 megapixel rear camera, running Android 2.2. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Oh, see, why didn't I get this? I don't know what I was thinking.
Man. I tried so hard. I figured it was the type of rough phone you needed out in the world.
Yeah, interesting little side note. The resolution on the Nokia one is 854 by 480, and I think this one is like 480 by 800 or something. So very similar screen resolutions between 2011 and 2018.
And listen, this has got an 8 gig micro SD card.
Oh, you didn't say that.
There you go.
You didn't tell me that back then. Otherwise, I would have got it.
You can get it for $80 on Amazon right now.
Okay.
It's still $80.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, it held its value.
At some point, they don't continue decreasing down to zero. They like stabilize in the $70 range or something.
As much as I looked, I could not find the phone that we were thinking of with the edges. I don't know if it was Motorola. It might have been HTC or
it
LG.
was the Razor.
It was the Razor. Yeah.
Is it the Razor?
Yeah, it was. I had it up here. It was, oh man, yeah.
Razor XT.
I thought maybe it was the Droid 2 or so.
Yes, it's the Razor XT 910.
XT 910,
Yes.
not 912.
Yes.
And you see the edges.
easy.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, that's totally it. Yep. Yeah, very good.
Very great naming conventions.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The XT 910, yeah, those edges. Yep.
As I said, 2011
Victor,
would have loved the Nokia one. Wow, that's a blast from the past. That was before Google acquisition too.
Yes.
2011, November 2011.
This was Moto Blur era.
Yeah. Oh, those are the days, guys.
Oh boy, Moto Blur feels like just yesterday.
Listen, it had
Moto Blur.
it had an 8 megapixel camera, rear camera. So
Hey, that was a lot back then.
Yeah. Speaking of Moto Blur.
Speaking of Moto Blur, so Android One is a customizable version of Android. Nokia haven't done much to it, if anything at all. From what I hear, Samsung are working on an Android Go device with their Samsung experience, which makes me get a bit of PTSD back to TouchWiz.
Yeah.
Flo, as
we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. That's been rumored.
As Madam President of the Samsung fan club in the Bay Area, what do you think?
Oh no. I've been impeached, actually.
Impeached or resigned? I think you resigned.
I resigned.
Yeah,
but
it's not like you went out. It's not like you went out in a flame of disgrace. It's just that you moved.
You're right.
You
that is
on.
better than going out. You're right. I resigned.
Yeah.
I dutifully resigned.
She said, "Listen, Samsung's not gonna have Flow to kick around anymore." And then she got in that helicopter and flew away.
Flew off the island and left the dinosaurs behind.
She doesn't even know what I'm referencing. Okay, let's do an email.
What are you referencing?
Nixon.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Nixon resigned, said they won't have me to kick around anymore, and then he got on the helicopter.
My parents were not even in this country, okay?
All right. Well, we got an
Speaking
email.
of references, though, like this, that Casio phone, it would go great with your Qui-Gon Jinn.
No, your Qui-Gon Jinn
cosplay.
communicator is a lady's Venus razor.
Yeah, if I go to the original site that this picture came from, that it has that side by side.
Yeah, no, they literally just like the Y-wings in Star Wars. So the Y-wings are not Luke flew an X-wing, but the Y-wing was the yellow ones with the pods coming out the back of it. The caps of the pods are pantyhose egg caps. Remember pantyhose used to come in those little plastic eggs? Yeah, exactly. They just put those on. Yeah, Lucasfilm, they just take whatever's around the office and paint it gray. So, at least back in the day.
All right, those were my Mork spaceships.
Yeah.
Like, for my Mork figure.
Anyway, all right, let's do an email. We got an email from Mike who writes in and said, "I had some free time and decided, talk about blast from the past, by the way, Jason. I had some free time and decided to view the All About Android archive, starting with the first beta episode from January 24th, 2011, right around the time of the Casio Gzone coming out, and me trying to get Jason to get it. In the fourth beta episode, and for those who don't know, before we officially launched the show, we did some beta episodes to get a feel for the format and that sort of thing. But in the fourth episode, Jason, Eileen, and Ron, Eileen, our former co-host, Eileen Rivera, the OG co-host, Jason, Eileen, and Ron talked about NFC being launched in the episode for February 14, 2011. You talked about NFC being used in Japan a lot already, and you all expressed the hope that NFC would catch on soon in the US soon too. Sad that 7 years later, NFC adoption in the US is still minimal, while Japan and Europe are big on contactless payments. And listen, Mike, I don't know what you're talking about. I used NFC twice today. I tapped the terminal at Walgreens to have it read my Walgreens card, and then I paid with my phone with the credit with my debit card via NFC. So NFC's there. You just got to find it. But yes, it hasn't really gone mainstream at this point, I guess. Will it ever?
I don't know. I use it at the grocery store. I use it at Starbucks. I use it. I mean,
I never use it.
If your merchant has a Square reader, has contactless payments too, and ask your merchants for that Square reader, because they're going to tell you they don't have it, and they do.
I do use NFC here in the UK because it is contactless, both for cards and smartphones, works. But I think that NFC, especially for payments, is a bit of an over-engineered solution to a problem that could be solved much more simply. If we look to Asia and specifically to China, mobile payments happen with the QR code system, both online and offline. And people specifically in China are not using cash anymore.
Yeah.
They're just using their smartphone. Alipay from Alibaba Group and WeChat Pay are the main payment solutions nowadays. And $20 smartphones can use it because it's through the QR code system. NFC, I think, is a great idea, but it's an over-engineered solution.
It's a really good point, Mateo. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And I mean, that's what happens sometimes. You just don't think about that. But that's why we bring other people on this show.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but now I'm like dead set on finding that episode on YouTube. For whatever reason, my YouTube foo and my Google foo is failing me. I can't get to those beta episodes.
Are they not on the Twit site?
They're there somewhere. I'm just not searching for them properly. Like the All About Android page has all the episodes from like on 111 on, and then I think everything prior to that is on the general Twit. On YouTube. So our beta and the alpha episodes prior to the episode 1 that you see on the screen right now, that was all YouTube only. That I think we uploaded on YouTube only, and it was kind of just there. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I don't think we published those though.
I have no idea. I haven't even revisited those in ages.
Yeah, I know. I'm just curious.
I was still writing about Apple.
Hang on.
Because our very first alpha, if you remember, was us just like sitting around like, so What do we
it
want to
wasn't.
do?
We had a format. We totally had a format. We had meetings. I remember that. We totally did.
But the very, very first alpha, if you remember, it was just me and you, wasn't it? Or no, maybe it was the three of us.
It was you and Eileen, and I was your guest.
Oh,
you guys
my
are
God.
spoiling a lot of what would be a very good oral history of All About Android. So I would suggest that you guys save it and think about it.
We'll look into
Think
it.
about a bonus episode for
on
our
a time.
fans. I'm just saying.
I forgot that we were doing a show,
Yes.
to be honest. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to get back to a whole lot more. But first, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode. That's LegalZoom. It's a fact. Most Americans don't have a will. Do you have a will? You probably don't. Well, maybe you do, but a lot of people don't. And if you don't, you should. 20 years ago, that wasn't a shocking statement. You had to find a trustworthy attorney and pay them by the hour to draft your will. But these days, there's no excuse. LegalZoom has made it easy to create your own. That's why more than 1 million people have used LegalZoom for their estate planning needs. It's National Make a Will Month at LegalZoom.com. So now it's your turn to take care of your family and take control of your assets with an estate plan. It starts with a will or a living trust. If you don't know which one is right for you, that's not a problem. LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys will advise you on what's best for you and best for your family. Plus, LegalZoom's not a law firm, so you will never pay hourly rates, which is a real big bonus. Make things a lot easier on your family when you're gone. Check out LegalZoom's last will and living trust estate plans now during National Make-A-Will Month at LegalZoom.com and use promo code AAA for special savings. That's LegalZoom.com and use code AAA for special savings. LegalZoom, where life meets legal. LegalZoom.com. Promo code AAA, and we thank LegalZoom for their support. All right. Continuing on with hardware, but this is more like the rumor mill hardware sort of thing. Rumory stuff. Let's start with the fun
Gossip.
The real fun stuff. The thing that I know that a lot of us are looking forward
Android
to.
gossip.
That's right. This is the gossip mill. Pixel rumors.
Tell me what's new.
So Pixel, of course, we're going to start with Pixel because we're Pixel fans. Pixel 3 XL, apparently, the veil has lifted. We know what it looks
Apparently.
like.
It has a notch.
According to...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's clearly white.
Yes, it's clearly white. It's the variant of the Pixel 3 XL that is
of
purported
purity.
to be appearing in these XDA developer leaked screenshots that tell us that there is, in fact, a notch with the dual front-facing cameras and a sensor baked into that notch. Some are saying that notch is a very deep notch, which I think we had heard about before, and so some people are upset about that.
The notch is so deep.
It's such a big notch. Bottom front-facing speaker that you can see there. This model has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, although they're expected to go at least to 128. Snapdragon 845 underneath. Back is all glass, although the top is glossy, the bottom is matte.
Yes.
And being all glass makes it more likely that this next rumor is possibly true. The Pixel stand is another thing that leaked. And it made an appearance. I don't know if it leaked, but it did one of those things where it appeared inside of the Google app in the latest update. There's a reference to the Pixel stand.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense, right? It's a little Google Assistant display on your phone.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it charges.
Good point. Good point. I'd put that on my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a wireless charger of some sort, hopefully. It doesn't mention anything specifically about wireless charging in this, but one could assume
Simply want too much.
Yeah. People certainly ask for it time and time again. And then what else? The Pixel Watch. We had heard EvLeaks had tweeted a few months back that would get an unveiling at the event. Now, whenfuture.de has more details in a language I can't read, but thankfully we got translation that says that the Pixel Watch is going to come in possibly 3 versions. Some of those versions with a heart rate sensor, all using Snapdragon Wear 3100. That's Qualcomm's long-awaited updated processor for Wear devices, and an always-on assistant, which you could assume would be the case.
Yes.
So lots of Pixel leaks.
Also, just very quickly, I want to mention that Google is mandating requirements on Android P's notch support. So following phones coming out won't be allowed to have more than 2 notches.
Oh,
Only
that's
2
horrible.
notches or cutouts will be supported, only on the top and bottom, 1 per side, just to help viewability.
You can only have 1 notch up on top. You can't have 2. That's dumb.
Well,
I want like notches all around. Like, could you imagine the
A notch
display
in
if
your
there were just a notch border everywhere?
like a chain link
I wouldn't be
fence.
surprised seeing the European Union fine Google for limiting notch freedoms.
It's very possible we could see that happen. I mean, basically, this just says, cool, you want to bring cutouts on your phone. It's reasonable to expect that you might want one on the top where the sensors are on the bottom where the sensors can be, or speakers or whatever. But I don't know. Probably for app consistency, I guess, so that apps don't get pieces bitten out of it all over the place.
Got to put some rules in, Jason. You can't have everything go haywire. You just can't have everything be,
It's true.
you got to keep them regulated.
Thanks for that.
Shall we go to our next rumor?
Nice music reference there. 90s, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he became like a brain scientist. Crazy guy.
Really?
Yeah, really smart. So there's actually a little exclusive about an HTC mid-ranger. So HTC fans out there can have a little something to look forward to. It is codenamed Imagine Life, which I appreciate all the positivity radiating throughout that name. It's likely to be called the HTC U12 Life, and it's got a 6-inch full HD display. 2160 by 1080 is the resolution. An octa-core Snapdragon 636, so very decidedly mid-range, but you've got 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, micro SD, a dual 16 megapixel and 5 megapixel rear-facing camera, and a front-facing 13 megapixel camera. Also, a 3600 milliamp battery pack, which is pretty darn big.
Not bad.
In this sea of phones. A fingerprint sensor, Bluetooth 5.0, and NFC. All pretty good things for a mid-ranger. I guess we'll just have to wait and see until it's finally revealed.
HTC is really ramped down. I know they said they were going to, but it's just you don't really hear a whole lot about HTC right now.
They're too busy developing the Pixel 3 XL.
Are they?
Manufacturing it.
Or manufacturing. Like they're Google's using their resources, aren't they? I mean, wasn't that the whole deal?
Well, Google bought all the HTC employees. I guess I'm still unclear as far as whether they actually still work for HTC or whether they're Google now.
My understanding is that they work for Google now, and they've split the campus in Taipei. I think the best person to explain what's happening there would probably be Alex Doby of Android Central, since he spends a lot of time in Taiwan at the moment.
Okay.
All right, then.
Yeah. So my understanding is that the Google employees are working for Google in Taiwan, whilst HTC are a separate building, separate employees who are not interacting with the others anymore.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Oh, sounds so isolated.
So isolated. Anyway, but I mean, part of HTC's bailout from Google was that a significant portion of their resources went to support Google, so it makes sense that they would scale down.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them scale up. We'll see. But Samsung is always scaling up, and this is actually less of a rumor, more of a patent type clue. Samsung's new patent focuses on biometrics using ultrasonic technology. Sensors under the display glass. The sensor is under display glass, but it could be used in other parts of the design simultaneously. The current under display fingerprint scanning is done with optical scanning, which can be slower and less accurate. So ultrasonic fingerprint scanning, folks, that's where we become.
Yeah,
but we've had that
infrared.
We've had that for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So the Xiaomi Mi 6 and the Honor 10, for example, just 2 phones from last year and this year, have ultrasonic fingerprint sensors under the glass. And maybe Samsung have a different way of implementing it or using it, but it's nothing too new as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
The advantage of ultrasonic is that even if you have wet hands, the fingerprint scanner will be able to read your fingerprint.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
The wet hand problem with the fingerprint I've run into already.
That is an issue, yes.
That is an issue.
I've
Yeah,
certainly
interesting.
encountered
Especially
that.
after I've licked the Cheeto dust clean off of my fingers and then I try to unlock my Pixel. It just doesn't work.
The problem is Cheetos.
There's no problem with Cheetos.
Cheetos sounds really good
Not
right now. I'm
even
very
flaming
hungry.
hot with Limon. Don't talk to me.
Come at me.
Don't talk to me.
We got a couple of emails. Mink wrote in to say, you spent a few weeks discussing the concept of consumer choice in respect to the EU ruling against Google. And to me, it seems that the answer can be summarized in one question. Can I, the user, delete the app? If so, then it's choice. If not, it's bloatware. I mean, I'm fine with getting the OEM browser and Google browser and maybe even others as an extra pre-installed option. But if I can't delete them, then in my opinion, it goes from being an option to bloatware. Curious to see if you agree with this test or not. And actually, Matteo, I saw some folks in the chat room that were asking and wondering how you felt about the Google Android EU
Being a citizen
stuff.
of the EU, because we are not.
Yeah, we're looking in from the outside, and you're in the
We're very outside. We're like
you're in
thousands
the
of
eye
miles
of the,
outside.
eye of the tornado.
Yeah, you're literally in it.
So,
Well,
what do you think?
Prefacing with this, I'm no expert in antitrust law, and that I am biased in the sense that I'm very thankful to Google for what they've done with Android. I wouldn't be in the job I'm in at the moment if it weren't for the Android platform.
Sure.
So prefacing with that, I'm personally a bit disappointed with that, because I look at Android as an ecosystem as a whole at a global level. I look at what's going on in China, where Android is used with absolutely no Google services for two reasons. One, Google do not operate in China, and two, the consumers there do not want to really use Google services. But companies like Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, Doogee, Ulefone, Elephone, and many others build phones using Android. They give computing access and communication access to millions, if not billions, of people. And that's with no Google services whatsoever. Android is an open platform. It's open source. I personally don't think that Google have behaved in a manner that was incorrect. But that's my personal opinion, and I'm no expert in antitrust law.
But as Bleak points out in the chat room, you are an expert in goat and Mockadile case.
Yes, and we both the goat and the Mockadile industrial complex have benefited enormously from the Android ecosystem. They are, I would say, a net benefactor industry from the existence of the Android ecosystem.
I think that's obvious
So
to everyone here. I think we would all agree to what
Exactly.
you're saying.
So
yeah, it's obvious.
It's obvious that Mockadile is a bigger thing than it would have ever have been had it not been for Android. So yes, I would say Android is a great ecosystem because it's open and because people can take it and run with it. Such as Amazon, for example. Look at the Fire tablets and how many people have access to tablets in the living room or for travel at a very inexpensive price point with absolutely no Google services whatsoever on them.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. Mink, thank you for writing it. Flo, you got the next email.
This last one's from Mark. I'm hoping you can use the podcast to raise awareness, maybe get Google's attention about this issue. Google has removed location-based snoozing from the Inbox app. This is such a bonehead. This is such a bonehead from Google. I don't know what they could possibly be thinking. This really was the best feature of Inbox, making smart, productive use of Google location services, making our smartphone actually smart for once. The thread in the Google product forums already has over 100 entries.
Yeah, I didn't realize this happened. Of course, I never used this feature, but I didn't actively search for it.
Yeah, I
but
didn't
I
use
could
this
see
feature
why it's
either.
useful.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. I had used that feature a couple times because when you have one email address for both business and personal life, you want to deal with the personal stuff later in the evening, right?
Yep.
You don't want to deal with that when you're on somebody else's dime.
Right.
So I could see why that would be really helpful. Not to mention, a lot of the Google services are for people like me who have, their tiny little businesses and don't have a lot of money to spend on suites and things. And so to have these helpful little features, I can see why that's a bummer. I can see it.
Yeah.
What?
No,
What are you humming about?
just the sweets. I think I'm just hungry. Keeps coming up, and I keep-
SUITES sweets.
I think it's less about the sweets and more about the mysterious disappearing things from Google every now and then. Right? I feel like every couple of months we hear about something that just disappeared and we don't know why.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a really good point.
But it'll come back in 2 versions.
Yeah, maybe the EU didn't like it.
I mean, and there's also the fact that like a lot of times, at least, and I can only use my own usage in this particular situation, I don't think of like getting to an email later as a thing I do when I'm at a place. I think of it as a thing I do at a particular time of day. And so it just never occurred to me to be like, take this email and only show it to me when I get into work. Like that just, I don't know. Show it to me at 9 o'clock worked better for me in my mind. So maybe through their usage statistics, that seemed to be more what people were doing. But why get rid of it? Because it's not like it was really taking up any extra space or making things more confusing.
Yeah,
it was an
I
extra
didn't
option.
even know that a lot of this stuff existed until like right before they took it away because the stuff isn't really advertised. Didn't inbox just like show up and then here's some new features?
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yep.
It has assistant. It can predict stuff. Enjoy.
We're Google.
Also, we still have Gmail. Go enjoy that too.
Yes.
I'm so confused.
All right. Let's take a moment and thank our next sponsor for this episode of All About Android. We want to thank WordPress for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. Because listen, when I decided I needed a website, I had a vision. And I chose WordPress.com because there were no limits. WordPress helps me be completely free to create the ultimate online hub that was truly mine, with room to grow as I aimed higher. And listen, you can turn your vision into a reality and launch your website on WordPress.com. On WordPress.com, you can choose from hundreds of designs to match your vision and establish your brand, no matter how much design experience you have or don't have, in fact. It's hassle-free. WordPress takes care of the hosting, security, and software updates so you can focus on your site. You can upload images, video, audio, and more, plus import and export content to and from your WordPress website. It's your site, your home, your content. Grow your audience and reach new customers with built-in search engine optimization tools, social media features, and marketing tools. With the WordPress app, you can manage your site on the go. And you can launch your website with confidence, knowing that you can get help from a 24/7 support team when you need it. And the greatest thing of all, WordPress plans start at just $4 a month. So you want to go to WordPress.com and sign up today and find out why 31% of all websites run on WordPress. You heard me correctly, 31% of the entire internet websites, they're all running WordPress. That's for a reason. So right now, go get 15% off any new plan purchase. Go to WordPress.com/allaboutandroid to create your website. That's WordPress.com/allaboutandroid for 15% off your new website. It's WordPress.com/allaboutandroid, and we thank WordPress for their support and helping the internet run so nicely. Thank you, WordPress.
Thank you, WordPress. And now it's time for a whole bunch, actually. It's weird. Suddenly we have a bunch of app news. Let's do it. Pow. This just doesn't normally happen like this. Got like 6 stories.
Doesn't.
Let's blast through them.
Let's do it. Let's blast.
So this past weekend, I was talking to a friend of mine who has a 10-year-old son, and he was telling me how all his son does is play Fortnite. And I was like, what is this Fortnite? I've never heard of it. And then I looked into it. I had heard of it. I'm joking. But I was like, oh, I wonder why it's not on Android. And sure enough, Fortnite Mobile is around the corner. And Epic Games released a long list of compatible phones. It alludes to most modern flagships and mid-rangers. And what's even more interesting about this, though, is that the release is likely to be timed with the Galaxy Note 9 launch. An exclusive expected to be around in 30 days and likely won't be available outside of the Play Store at all. Fortnite Mobile webpage code revealed onboarding details that instruct how to download and install the game outside of the Play Store. So completely out of the Play Store entirely. Download and install Fortnite through your browser. So this is crazy because number one, Fortnite is a huge game that everyone is playing, but on top of it, it's a huge moneymaker. And people spend all this sort of money on the all the other stuff in the game, in-app purchases and things like that. And could be a way that they're going to avoid 30% of the sales going to Google. On iOS, Epic Games saw $2 million per day in sales in its first 10 days. And that's a $600,000 savings if they avoid the Google Play Store. So they might have learned from their experience on iOS and figured out a way to work around the system. Crazy. What do you guys think of this breaking the system here, moving out of the Google Play Store for Fortnite?
I mean, of like the titles or apps or games that could possibly decide like, hey, we're going to bypass the Play Store and it's 30% of, take on all sales that come from our app. Fortnite's probably the one to do it, right? Like, it's a powerhouse right now. People are going to download it no matter where it's at. And yeah.
Then what happens when other apps follow in this business model?
I know, right? That's a good point.
So why isn't Google doing everything to talk to Epic Games and make this not happen?
It's got the EU to deal with.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's a really good point, Flo. I think this is the sort of thing that Google will be able to use in the appeal to say the Google Play Store which was part of the whole judgment, is not the only way to get apps on the platform. This is not the only way to install apps, unlike on other platforms. So this might just be an example to prove their point. There's nothing to stop you installing Amazon Underground or the Amazon App Store on your device and sideloading through there. Amazon have a different currency for their App Store, and that's a perfectly valid alternative to the Google Play Store. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised to see Fortnite distributed through there, because if as an app developer you're invested in the Amazon AWS platform, your backend to your service runs on AWS. Integrations with the Amazon App Store are slightly easier in some cases. So we'll see what happens. But I think that sideloading straight from web opens a whole can of security worms.
Yeah, it does.
Whereas going from a curated app store such as the Amazon App Store or any other third-party app store would be a way to solve that problem, and also make a point to the EU that Google do not control the platform, as their judgment passed down seemed to imply.
Well, and I think the question that Bleak posed in the chat room is this just for the exclusivity period? If it launches for the Note 9 and it's a 30-day exclusivity, is this only bypassing the Play Store and requiring sideload for those 30 days for Note 9
I feel like they wouldn't
purchasers?
be allowed to do. I feel like Samsung would not allow that.
Right, like that's kind of weird to me too. Like it seems to be strange advice with a big name like this and a deal with Samsung to be like, hey, you know how we've spent all this time telling you that, like, don't sideload, get your apps through legitimate means. And by legitimate, I don't mean that this is illegitimate, but I just mean that you open the door for illegitimate apps in other ways. If people like think, oh, this is all I have to do to load apps on here. Oh, that was easy. I'll do this and then that, and then it opens a whole can of worms, whether they understand what they're doing or not. This might not be illegitimate, but the next one might be, and that can open them up for security issues.
Plus, Samsung have the S Store, or whatever they call it at the moment, the Samsung Galaxy Store. What would be the best way to maintain exclusivity on the Samsung Note 9? Distribute it exclusively through that store. Yeah. I'm sure that would drive sales of Samsung devices as well.
Probably so. I imagine it would. Let's see here. This is just a quick one, but I didn't realize this update had happened. Google actually updated the phone app. Their phone app. So I'm sure you guys noticed, like, about a year ago, the phone app was updated. So now when like spam calls come through, you get this nice big red banner.
Oh,
like,
scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it does.
But it's awesome because, I mean, you're sure to see it. And you're like, heck no, I'm not answering that phone. Like, Google's doing you a solid. Well, they went one step further. They added a new feature in there in the caller ID settings that you have to opt into. So it was put in there. You weren't notified about it. And it's off by default. It allows Google to send those spam calls straight to voicemail. So if you're never going to pick them up anyways, Just cut it off, and once it sees that, it'll basically just make sure that you don't even get rung, that your phone doesn't ring, and it goes right to voicemail.
Stop calling me.
Yeah, so you don't have to see that red screen anymore, because if you're going to, it just goes to your voicemail.
Junk.
Really nice.
It's all junk.
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 You know what's not junk is the VLC media player.
Heck no.
It's a great app. But if you're on a Huawei device, you might be seeing some trouble because VLC Media is blocking certain Huawei devices from downloading the app. Now, they're doing this because VLC doesn't like the fact that Huawei's background app management, it's basically giving users issues, and they are blaming VLC and leaving negative reviews. Developers can choose what devices their apps can run on. Oops, I jumped ahead.
What?
I jumped ahead in the notes. Don't mind me.
That's okay.
So yeah, people are encountering issues with this, which just sounds like interesting. I didn't even know that this is a thing that you could do. It's just target.
Well, yeah,
I guess
because
you can target certain devices.
Well, yeah, you can say that this app is compatible with these devices, but incompatible with
That's true.
devices
So
that
they
meet
just
a
make it
certain-
incompatible with Huawei devices. Okay. So developers can choose what devices their apps can run on or run well on. VLC also offers its app on its site to sideload if Huawei users still want it. So if you
And
want
I guess
it
in
and you've
that
got a Huawei
way,
device.
yeah. Speaking of sideloading,
Yeah.
right.
Speaking of sideloading.
But it seems like a bit of a drastic move.
Yeah.
It's a bit like cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
VLC doesn't want all those negative reviews.
They gotta take some constructive criticism.
Well, I think VLC doesn't
As
think
an
they
app-
should have to take the constructive criticism.
As an
Fair.
app developer, I would engage straight with Huawei and make sure that in the next update
Yeah.
of MUI, my app gets whitelisted. We explain the issue to them. We would tell them that this is causing us problems and give them some data from the App Store to say these are all the negative reviews and specifically tied to Huawei devices. And make
point.
that be a whitelisted app in the next version of MUI, which will not kill it off in the background.
That's a really good point.
Word.
Word
Some
up.
truth telling from Mateo.
Yes.
Bang.
Boom.
Not a goat in sight.
Bah.
Not until later, anyways. All right, Ron, you
So-
got the next one.
So every now and then, I'm very happy I don't work at Google because I'd be pulling my hair out when things like this happen. But Google announced today new functionality in the Clock app that can set alarms based to music playlists, which is awesome. Except that it's on Spotify and not Google Play Music or even YouTube Music. Oh, I don't know. Why not link this to our music service? No, let's go to Spotify, the one I don't use. So this requires the latest version of Spotify on the device. It works with free and premium Spotify users. You can select songs or playlists, and it's going to be rolling out this week. And my word, if I worked at Google, I would be yelling at somebody going, why are you going to an external app and not to ours?
Why
And
do you think?
the Europeans among us will be saying they're not promoting their own products
That's
to
true.
prove a point to the EU.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, maybe some of these very recent decisions are all totally guided.
Just give me choice. Let Spotify be a choice, but Spotify isn't even on my phone. I don't use Spotify at all.
It's not a choice.
But you use Spotify
I do.
Bed.
And I wake up to classical music every morning.
through
Not
the
Jennifer
Google
Page?
through the Google Clock app or a different one?
Oh, through the Google Home.
Oh, through the
Yes,
well, yeah.
not through Google
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Now
sense.
you don't need a third-party app, though.
right?
Yay! I mean,
Yeah, you
sorry
do.
for the developers out there.
You do need a third-party app. You need
Oh,
Spotify.
you use Spotify. Yes, it's true.
Hello,
So you
that's
might
the
still
issue.
need third-party.
Google has banned cryptocurrency mining apps from the Play Store, specifically apps that mine cryptocurrency on the device. Google says it's going to allow apps that manage the mining of cryptocurrency off device. So apps that manage, cloud mining is one example. Google also recently blocked crypto mining Chrome extensions in its web store. So this is kind of an extension of that. Apple has done this very recently as well. They're all kind of cracking down on this. And I think some apps were actually crypto mining unbeknownst to the user, it would be baked into an app, and that's definitely a bad behavior.
Welcome to 2018.
Yeah, this is where we're at. But they're also prohibiting a bunch of other things in their new policies. Repetitive apps, so apps with very similar content or user experience, to which I say Google Messaging? Just saying. Apps based on templates. Apps where the primary purpose is serving ads, so like you get ads at every swipe is one example. Apps that intentionally mislead users, which that's a pretty broad category. We'll see how easy that
What
is
if it's a surprise app?
to tackle. Yeah, yeah, right. Apps that appeal to children but contain adult themes. That makes a lot of sense. Apps that facilitate the sales of firearms and explosives as well as instruct on the creation of them. So they're definitely cleaning up what they allow in the Play Store, and I imagine that'll mean the disappearance of some of the. I mean, the numbers in the Play Store. There's so many apps there, and so much of it is just clutter, junk, stuff that hasn't been updated in a long time.
Garbage.
Flo said
garbage. Sorry.
Maybe this will help.
It's the same in the iTunes store.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They still have so many fart apps.
Too many.
Too many.
Somebody's arena winner and somewhere in the world is a fart app in their opinion. So,
I suppose. Here's an app that you can get a lot of fun with, though. It's the Google Home app, and if you have a smart speaker, you can now take advantage of scheduled routines. So actually, Victor, if you wouldn't mind a little over the shoulder shot, I've got for here, is that too? Let me actually turn on the brightness just a tiny bit. So this is what it looks like. You can go to the settings in your Google Home app, under more settings, under routines, and then you tap you'll see the Fab button over here, the plus Fab button, and you'll tap that. And then it'll take you into this, it'll take you into this screen, which lets you start a new routine, and you can select, you can basically select from the row of options here, and now you can set a time and day for when a specific command should run. So choose a time, choose a day, and then choose the speaker that you want to do it. We'll do the Office display, and then you can tell it when to notify you, and then you will set up what it should do. So I don't know. I haven't decided what it should do tomorrow at 12. It'll do something.
You should have it set the volume to 50%.
I guess I could do that. All right.
Do you see the EG underneath it?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. That's the reason why I said it. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so that's how you do it. And then you just select yay, and then it programs it, and then boom, you don't have to say stuff anymore. It just happens. So there you go, automation. In fact, it might actually make my arena pick a little moot.
Both.
I think, there's room for both. There's room
in everyone's hearts.
That's right.
This is a good, easy way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
If you just want to do it through your Google Home. It's like having a smart home hub, but it's not.
That's right. It's a smart home hub in your pocket. All right. And with that, it's time that we jump into our own Fortnite battle that we call...
We don't hit each other, thank God.
No, it's different. It's nicer. It's called the arena. Let's do it.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
So
Dang. Mateo got
Thank
not
you
one,
very
but
much, Victor.
I'm not amused. I'm not amused at all.
That was for you, Ron.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Victor. That was beautiful.
Mateo, you got 2 bumpers in this show.
Yeah, and that one had fluffy goats.
So
yeah,
let me get this right. I'm a friend of the show, and I have 2 bumpers.
yeah, apparently.
Thank you. You have earned my loyalty.
It's only because you keep using us in examples.
Yes.
On blog posts.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, this is quid pro quo the whole way. It's a great relationship. All right. How did last week go, Jason?
Well, let's take a look. Twit.to/AAA vote 379. That was AAA vote because I messed things up on the poll. Anyways, looks like Storm Raider was the winner. That was Ant's pick, if I remember correctly, right? 38%. Congratulations, Ant. You won the arena this time. Yeti gets second place at 28%. Who had Yeti?
Me.
You did, Flo. Flo had Yeti, 28%, the returning winner. Never Think, third place, 20%. That was Ron. Fourth place, I'm not surprised, TV Towers, 14%.
I thought it was neat.
I thought it was neat, too.
I don't know where the TV towers are. Now I know.
But, I mean, when I saw Storm Raider and then, I mean...
So TV
I
towers,
definitely felt like mine was the weakest link.
TV towers could be used if you need to, hack the system, get your message out there.
It's very specific. All right. So with those results, I want to thank Wade County in the chat room. Through 30 weeks of the All About Android Arena, guests are still firmly in first place with 87 points.
Sheesh.
10 points behind in second place is myself at 77 points. Flo is in third place at 71 points. And Jason is just way in the distance in last place at 62 points. So Jason really needs to pull off a win. But before we get to Jason's app, I just want to thank everyone again. Wade County in the chat room, Gizmo on the Twit wiki for keeping things updated. Keeping if you go to twit.to/Android apps, you can see all the apps that are in the arenas. Everybody that does everything that we don't. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously. And I know we don't thank everyone enough for managing that stuff, but it's so true. You guys are
the heartbeat of this show. So thank you.
Yeah.
So.
Kyle D on the subreddit, just so many people helping out. We really appreciate it. Okay, so I am the returning loser, so I'll go first.
You're not a loser.
It's okay. It's okay. At this point, I'm used to it. But today's app is pretty cool. So one of the features for those of you who are awaiting the triumphant arrival of Android P, whatever the delicious flavor it will be named, one of the features that you're going to get is this kind of like smart rotation button that appears at the right time. So if you're in portrait mode, you won't see it down on the bottom, but if you kind of rotate your phone to the side, you might see a little portrait or a rotation button that you can hit to lock it into the rotation that you are currently in. It's kind of nice. It's kind of contextual and jumps in there when you need it. So I found an app that allows you to do this now. It's called Android P Rotation. That makes a whole lot of sense. Here it is. It is free. You can pay for some expanded features, which I think kind of ties into on a per app basis, setting the orientation, the screen rotation per app. But and that's what I'm showing off right now. But I mean, it's a pretty straightforward app. So I've got it activated. A lot of settings here. Before I kind of dive into the settings, I'll just show you. You're not seeing anything right now. If I rotate to the side, you see this tiny little kind of thing that appeared. It went away because it's kind of there for a second, and then it goes away, assuming that you don't need it if you haven't tapped it already. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. This is my default rotation in portrait. I go to landscape, hit that, and boom, it locks me into landscape, and you see it's going to stay in landscape now until I hit that, and it takes me back. And it's very similar to how it works in Android P. If you're having the laying in bed problem, which is what a lot of people are surfing the internet on their phone in bed or about to, and then you lay down and the screen goes all wobbly and everything. You don't want it to do that, or maybe you do. This is a way to kind of lock it into place. So it's Android P Rotation, and when you go in here, you can kind of set up, where the button is, how big it's going to be when it appears, opacity, which mine was very, very faded. It's at 30 right now. How long it stays on the screen before it disappears entirely. Where on the screen it's actually going to appear. Maybe you want it in the center of the screen. Hey, you won't miss it if it's in the center. And a whole lot more. So that is Android P Rotation. Pretty straightforward. It emulates that one feature from Android P pretty well, and it's worth checking out. Android P Rotation. All right, Ron, I have your app installed, and I will show it off.
Yes, sir. So my app, we were talking about automation earlier, and Flo's going to talk a little more about smart home automation and kind of larger things like that. But whenever I think of automation, I think of things like IFTT, but then I think about Tasker and Locale, which are apps that are very popular, everybody loves. And I'll be honest with you, they intimidate the hell out of me because they seem to be very hard to, you figure out the recipe and how everything works and stuff like that. I was looking and found it's a little bit of an older app. It's been around for a while, but it's called Automate. Very simple, Automate. Not the app called Automate with a capital M, which was a driving travel app that was previously in the show. This is a different Automate. But basically, it's similar to Tasker in that it allows you to use your device to set up automatic kind of recipes for you to trigger based off your phone, but it does it in a visual kind of way, a flowchart kind of way. So if you go to create a new recipe, they have a series of building blocks, and you have this whole kind of little graph that you're working on. And if you hit the menu in the upper left-hand corner, you can reveal the various building blocks you have. Right, so you can choose from whether apps, your battery, camera, all this sort of things, and you can tap one and pull it onto the field, and so now you can move it anywhere you want on that area, and if you long press on the so you just connected the beginning of that to when battery level, right, and then now you can set what should happen when the battery level is. So when it's charged, when it gets down to 25%, you can set whatever you want it to be, right?
Okay, so now it would go up here.
Yep, and then have something happen, like whether you want to, let's maybe change the interface. We can change the, let's change the color. There we go, color pick. Let user pick a color. So there we go. And then now you can long press on that and make the connection. So when the battery level is 66%, then you can edit that to pick the color, to change the color of whatever you want to do. Okay. Basically, it allows you to build these flowcharts of automation based off things. So what you could do is you could build a location-based one. So when I'm home, turn on Wi-Fi. Like that's the usual one that we kind of give the example for. But you could also be like, when I come home, turn on the Wi-Fi and send a text message to my wife saying I'm home. You can do things like that. Basically, with this whole set, you can access every function within your app. Within your phone, and the great interesting thing is that it's visual. So if you're more of a visual designer or a visual learner or something like that, these great kind of flow charts that you can connect in are there. It's extremely powerful, and there's a whole community and a whole library of ones to tap into already. If you don't want to actually do them, you can go access everyone else that has been doing it and creating these already, and you can tap into that as well. So so it's called Automate. It's free in the Google Play Store. If you want to get into automation based off your device to have certain things happen when you go places or when you do certain things, you can do that. So there you go.
Nice.
Automate.
That is Automate. Automate.
Yep.
By Llama Lab.
Yep.
I think is the creator of that. Right on. Automate by Llama Lab. Speaking of llamas, Mateo. It's not quite a direct reference, but it's close enough.
Close enough.
Okay.
Great example. So my app for the arena this week is one which you'll not be surprised to hear is goat related. And
wow,
I don't know
surprise.
if you have audio available.
I can turn it up loud.
Yep, that's
right.
Great. So this game is called Goat Evolution, and it's a game available in the Google Play Store. It's free. Ad supported, but also has options to remove ads through in-app purchases. Now, the premise is simple. It's a tapper. It's a tapping game. You need to use your poop coins, so the goats create poop, to buy more goats. And if you tap the goats in your pen, you can get even more poop coins out of it. So I specifically chose this because we know that Jason's artistic penchant is for poop emojis.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is a bit of a bonus for you. And every few seconds, you will get a delivery of an extra goat in a crate. And they start off as baby goats. If you open the other crate that's there's another one there. You can drag the two baby goats together to make an adult goat. And that will have yellow horns as well. And
listen,
when two
baby goats fall in love, they make an adult goat. Adult goat.
This is how it works, huh?
This is the child-friendly version of evolution. So you can then drag the two adult goats onto each other, and they will start mutating. So the ones with the yellow horns, drag one with the yellow horns onto the other one, and you'll see that you have a new goat, the first mutant one, a goatant goat.
A goatant.
And you carry on doing this until the third or fourth level of mutant goat is too big for your pen, and to which point you zoom out to world level. And this app is essentially a tapping game. You just drag and drop to create new ones. Now you've got a Capri-voyant goat. And it's just a fun game. The music is great fun. You hear the poop noises as they're generating the currency, which is fertilizer.
As you would hope, yes.
As you would hope. And this will carry on running this game will carry on collecting your poop in the background thanks to a tractor. Now, obviously, the more currency and more poop you have, the more you can upgrade your goats and the length of the tractor collecting the poop in the background. So as you level up, your mutant goats will be creating more poop, which means more revenue. It's a continuous growth tapping game. And you have a limitation of 16 goats in your pen, and then you need to evolve them so that they become too big for your pen and go into the bigger, wider world. And you'll have a zoom in there. Make a new one.
Make a new mutant.
What?
So you've got 2 pink ones. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I didn't even think to do that. They were staring me right in the face. Don't care. Some other time. Support
your devs.
Yes.
But there you go. So this is a fun game. The noise it makes is very amusing to me. When you evolve goats by putting two together, they make a funny bah noise, and the continuous pooping noise is very amusing. I'm a very mature person, as you can hear. So as far as goat games go, this is good fun. It's nice to go to bed with very little poop coinage and waking up with a lot of it in the morning, and then have to continuously upgrade your goats. If you use a rainbow, you'll have even more poop income during your gaming time. And the more you evolve goats, the closer you get to a nuclear meltdown, which will accelerate mutations. There's extra in-app purchases to improve your overall goats mutation farm. And if you are interested, there is a prequel to this game. It's called Cow Mutation, or Cow Evolution, and Platypus Evolution. Obviously, it's a whole series, but we obviously know that goats are the superior animal in this situation. If you don't agree with me, please let me know on Twitter.
Dang it, Mateo, I can't stop playing.
It is a very fun and addictive game, and the sound really does make it even better.
Oh, yeah. New goat discovered.
Eye of Provibex.
All right. I have to turn it off. Otherwise, I'll... Oh, wait. No, I won't.
This is weird.
Did you expect any less, Ron?
No, I didn't. Still weird.
All right, done.
I got to say, crypto is taking some really interesting directions with the poop chain.
So how does that work on the HTC blockchain phone?
Really well.
Good to hear.
Goat evolution. All right, Flo, you got the last one.
All right,
you gotta follow that one up.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to follow. Listen, for me, it is the summer of IoT. I want all of you to watch Know How this season I'm doing Megan Maroney, so I'm going to use every opportunity I possibly can to plug the show that we're working hard on. And I also wanted to use the opportunity to bring another smart home app into the arena and to sort of give you another choice to the app that I brought last week, which was Yeti. So this one is called You Know Me, and it sounds like You Know Me. It's not really spelled like that, but close. So it's actually spelled YONOMI for those listening to the audio-only feed. And you can find that in the Google Play Store as well as in the Apple App Store if that's your thing and you happen to be listening. So You Know Me is great if you are just a super simpleton about the smart home. You do not want anything super complicated. You don't really want to deal with the Google Home app, or maybe you don't even have smart speakers in the house that you want to deal with. You just want to have those lights come on when you get home, or, set the mood when you push a button. That's what You Know Me is really good for. It only supports a very limited number of services, and actually was in a page. Yes. So The nice thing about it is that it has a Find New Devices button that you can press, and it will just scan your Wi-Fi network and look for whatever might be connected. At home, this worked impeccably. I was able to immediately log on to my Nest, LifeX, and Philips Hue accounts, but here, obviously, it's on a Wi-Fi network. It doesn't have a lot of things on it, so you can't really see that. These are a couple of pre-filled routines, or rather like quick actions that you can set. They're all completely customizable. So if you want everything off, you can go in, or excuse me, if you want everything off, you can go in and edit it and choose like your icon and your color, and, get really, just have some fun with it as you like and make it easy to use. It's, all you got to do is go in and set it the way you want. You can preview it if you like. You can delete it if you want. Under things, you can see a list of all the things that it can do. So down here, this is a TP-Link outlet that we have in the house. This is connected to the terrarium. So, I didn't have to set any of this up. This was just instantly auto-loaded when I did that scanning in my house, which is great because my husband connects to these accounts. He actually manages them. So I have nothing to do with them, which I thought was kind of cool. And then you've got, the other lamps that I have in the house. You can make actions or routines with your phone based on like geolocation, when you come home, things like that. The date and time. You can set whether you want to get a notification when things run. It's a little bit like IFTTT for dummies, so to speak, because it kind of acts like that too when you set up a routine. So when you start a new routine, you can select, when do you want this routine to run? Add an event, date and time, or when your phone does an action. And then you could go, this is what the actions that you want. So you would choose the thing that's in your house and then tap it. And then you get these really easy to read modes. So I know, I want to run a color loop. Let's do that. Let's run a color loop. And then you can add conditions as well, which some of the other apps out there don't really let you do that because it's kind of a just this then that sort of formula. So it is super simple to use. It comes with a lot of preloaded ones that all you have to do is go in and edit them. And then there's even like a little community. What they will do is they'll aggregate some recipes that people have used completely anonymously, and then all you have to do is tap it, and then it'll autofill it for you, and then you can go in, see it'll autofill based on what you have in your house. So if you don't have Wemo lights in your house, it's fine because it'll just pick whatever other lights you have. So really good smart home automation made super easy. Another choice for those of you who maybe weren't into Yeti or just want something for somebody who wants to keep it simple. And it's free.
Nice. I like free. Yonomi, spelled Yonomi. So it's not like ya know me, it's like Yonomi.
You know me? Don't
You know me? Yo, you know me? Okay. You know me. Go and get it. It's free in the Play Store. All right, so you can place your vote for your favorite app this week that we showed off here in the arena. twit.to/AAA poll 380 to place your vote for your favorite app. Is it Android P Rotation, Automate, Goat Evolution, or You Know Me? Huh? twit.to/AAA poll 380. Victor is circling. Where will Victor land? Android P Rotation. Oh, already has some votes.
I actually had a use for that the other day.
No, yeah. I mean, and actually Burke earlier today was giving me a story. I was like, oh, in my head I was like, yes, my app is going to solve that problem too. So maybe it'll solve a problem for you. And if so, vote even if it doesn't. twit.to/AAA poll 380. That is it.
That is that.
That is that, which means that Mateo can go to sleep now, but probably not because he had coffee, whatever that was.
Yes, coffee Huel.
Coffee Huel.
Huel.
I just don't know
works.
if I understand, but hey. So when you say coffee Huel, does that actually mean that it has like coffee level caffeine in it?
Yes. So what I do is I usually make black coffee and then blend the Huel into it.
Dang. Wow. And that's because you got a conference call coming up for work. You're going to be up for a while. So it's not normal. It's not abnormal that you're drinking black coffee at 1 a.m.
I was going to be up anyway, and I had a good nap earlier, so it's not like I've been up for 72 hours straight. Not like MWC 2015 and the Huawei watch incident.
Right. Well, we appreciate it that you take time out of your busy schedule, day and night, to join us on All About Android. We really do.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. TechTravelGeeks.com. Anywhere else you want to point people to?
Yes. If you would like to discuss what we were talking about on All About Android this evening, at Tudoleo on Twitter, and TechTravelGeeks.com, both the website and our YouTube channel. So, and our podcast, which is just about to reach episode 2.
Awesome. Everyone make sure and tune in. I think at this very moment, Ron got really tired.
It just hit me. I had a long day.
Would you like me to send you some coffee Huel?
Yeah.
No, thank you. I can pretty much say no to that.
Ron needs the coffee Huel right now.
Just say no, Huel.
Ron, what's up with you, man? No, wait, the pinball thing. What happened?
Yeah, how was it?
I had a great time. I was gonna say I've been loving the OnePlus 6, and yes. I took some photos at Replay FX/Pinburg, the event I was at in Pittsburgh this past weekend. They're there in the doc, Victor, if you just want to click on one of them. But yeah, I had a great time using my OnePlus X at the show, getting a feel for it. I'm not going to be on this show next week, but maybe the week after I could do a little quick review of it, because I've definitely been getting the paces.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a shot of what the half of the convention floor looked like at Replay FX.
Wow.
This was the arcade game / pretty much a little bit of everything. This was so basically what I was at was, it was an event called Replay FX in Pittsburgh. Fantastic. And all weekend, all the retro video games you could want, arcade cabinets. Oh, go back to the picture. Don't show me. I was pointing to the picture. And then on the other side of the convention floor, I was playing in a pinball tournament called Pinburg, which was all banks of pinball machines like this, and played for pretty much 3.5 days straight. So needless to say, my feet hurt, but I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I won some, I lost some. It's not about winning or losing. It's about having fun with your friends. So that's what I had. So yeah, there you go. But I was impressed with the photos, though. This is a really good photo, I think. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, the top down shot. Yeah. You get a lot of details.
Very sharp.
As far as the event is concerned, it's a competition, but it's a competition where you can just drop in on any of these games and play them?
No. So the competition I was in was very regimented, and I registered back in December, and it was 850 participants, and every 2 hours you got into a new round or you got to a new group of people, and it was and if you missed it, you got a penalty and all this sort of stuff. It was very, very hardcore, but it was a lot of fun. So
that's cool. That sounds
good
fun.
Times.
Right
yeah,
on.
but the OnePlus 6 did great. It was so funny because in previous years, because you're there the play starts at like 10 a.m. and goes until 10 p.m. Yeah. And historically, I'd be there with my phone, and I've got shorts on, and I've got batteries in each pairs of shorts, and I got a charger with me. And at lunch, you run back to the hotel room to charge up. OnePlus 6, I never had to do it. Last the whole day.
Nice.
It was great. It was amazing. So.
That's awesome. Right on. Cool.
Say the same for my Pixel.
Yeah. Hey, let's check back in a year on that OnePlus 6 and see how it does in the similar situation. They all degrade. It's just the way it is. Cool. Well, we'll hear what you have to say in a couple of weeks on that. Thank you, Ron.
Yep.
And then what about you, Flo?
I just have a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, you're busy.
I have stuff going on. You already know I got another show on this network you got to watch this week. It's on Thursday, 11 a.m. Okay. I've got a website, FlorenceLion.com. I just did a layout refresh. Also a WordPress site, sponsor of the show. Well, I got to update it, but, working in baby steps.
Yeah.
Working in baby steps.
On. And there you are with Megan Maroney.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And that's the thing we do at the end of every know-how is we cheers with an IoT thing.
Excellent.
Yes.
Right on. Know-how. Check it out. twit.tv/KH for all your IoT needs. Victor, thank you. And thank you on behalf of Mateo for the 2 bumpers that you have
No
produced.
problem.
Yes, thank you, Victor. They are awesome.
Yeah, I had to put that at the top of my list when I found out that you were coming in.
We understand priorities. We get it. You can find me all over the network this week, especially because Leo did Mac Break today, and then he went to Tahoe, so he's off on vacation, and Megan's out too. So I'm Leo for the next couple of days. I did Security Now today with Steve Gibson. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing Windows Weekly with the folks there, Paul and Mary Jo, and then doing This Week in Google with Jeff Jarvis and Stacy.
You got a busy week.
And then Tech News Weekly on Thursday.
You need some Huel.
I need some coffee.
Send some Huel over.
Don't we all?
I'll bring you some over in September.
All right, cool. Cool with the Huel. I look forward to it. But that is it for this week. For this show, leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us emails, AAA@twit.tv. Find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. Arena apps list that Ron was talking about earlier, twit.to/Android apps if you want to check in on those. You can also find stats for the Arena at twit.to/Arena stats. Show notes and past episodes, basically the one page you want to go to subscribe to the show, find all of our back episodes, twit.tv/AAA. Next time Ron's out here, we'll get another updated photo because it cracks me up every single time. But yes, everything that you need to know is there, including times for the live recording, which is every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific at twit.tv/live. That is it for this episode. Thanks to Alex for helping out here in the studio and everybody who helps us do this show each and every week. And thanks to you for watching. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody. I'm hoping that we're rounding out to the end of the Oreo flavors.
Never. Well, let me tell you, the pistachio ones last week were a big hit at my office.
Oh, okay.
Like so much so that I brought them in on Wednesday, and then I was out Thursday and Friday. And normally they linger for about a week. Yeah. They were all gone by the time I came back.
They're all gone. Well, and I will say that we got the salted caramel ones, or caramel, whatever you want to call. Those are so good. Like those stand up to repeat eating.
Or caramel, as you would.
Caramel, whatever you call it. But this week we have this is a new flavor, I think. Chocolate peanut butter pie Oreo. Graham flavored cookie. Peanut butter and chocolate flavor cream. Naturally and artificially flavored. Flavored.
And also the sample Oreo on the cover is enlarged to show detail. And the detail it's showing is the fact that the filling is in fact two-tone, yin and yang, peanut butter and chocolate. Hold up. You got your chocolate and my peanut butter. That's a different product.
You got your peanut butter and my chocolate.
All right, let's do the smell.
Okay.
Oh, overwhelming peanut butter smell.
Yeah. I'm going to like these. I can already tell. I'm going to take from the end. You can kind of see the two-tone thing happening there. We'll pop it open here in a second. I'll hand this to Flo while I do the twist.
It broke on the twist.
Is a little less resilient, but that's okay.
It's a little thicker, I feel like, than other ones.
Yeah.
Mine's broken.
There's a couple of broken ones in there. I don't know if
it's shipping. Amazon. All right.
Crushed Oreos as a service.
Yeah,
it smells like the Nutter Butter cookies.
It does.
All right, so here's before we take our bite. I mean, Jason already took the lid off, but I'm going to suggest you take a bite. You align the two cream colors to be next to each other and take a bite from the middle, so you don't get an all chocolate bite or an all peanut butter bite. You want to get the mix.
This is a pro tip from Ron Richards on how to eat the chocolate peanut butter pie Oreo.
Chocolate peanut butter pie Oreo going in now.
All right, now.
It reminds me if Reese's peanut butter cups were an Oreo.
Yes.
Yeah, not bad.
There's a lot of Nutter Butter also going on there. I think that's the right comparison. With a little bit of extra chocolate in there. I scored that one pretty highly, actually.
Good.
I like that a lot. 9. I'll give it a 9. I love it.
Wow.
Can I have one more? It's really yummy.
That's a good sign.
I give it a 9 as well.
I'm normally not a peanut butter fan, but but I do like it. I'm going to round it out with a 9 as well.
Wow. These are one of the highest scoring Oreos. Like
Indeed.
between all of us.
Indeed.
I'm gonna justify the 9 in that I do love a good graham cracker flavor, but these are real. The cream is really thick. Like it is not just a light smattering of cream. It's a good thickness on the cookie.
Are these a current flavor or are they an Amazon special?
These are not expired. First of all, these are very fresh. This is a current flavor. This is one of their current.
So good.
I think it's a limited edition flavor, although it doesn't say limited edition anywhere. It just says new. This could be a permanent flavor, and I would support that decision. Apparently, Nabisco knows what we know. Nabisco already knows it. And does the little hand want some? What is that, a thumb ring? The little hand has a thumb ring. That's
Okay, I'm going to say it.
It's so precious.
These Oreos need to be eaten in a bathtub.
What?
These are Home Alone, candles on, music playing. I'm eating you in the bathtub cookies.
This is the kind of thing you keep to
Previously, it was
yourself.
Milano cookies, but now, Milano mint cookies to be very specific, but now it is the peanut butter pie Oreos. Peanut butter chocolate pie Oreos.
They're good.
Weird.
So good.
Ron thinks maybe you revealed a little too much.
No, it's self-care. Hashtag self-care. All right?
Keep something close to the vest.
Yeah.
Just teaching you guys how to enjoy your lives.
I'll tell you what I'll keep close to the vest. That entire package of Oreo cookies. Yeah. Oh,
It's gone. The little
that
hand
Burke
took
has
it.
and it's leaving.
The little
When
hand
Candace and I are over in September, that's definitely on our shopping list.
Do it. Well, I don't think that those are limited edition. I think that's like a permanent thing.
I bet
It
you
would
they're
say
better
limited
in
edition
Europe.
on it.
I bet
Yeah,
you
probably
make
so.
them with some like.
It just says new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're in luck, folks. We can have this week after week.